Welcome back. And a new football season is coming our way. The NFL draft was a few days ago. And I forgot to mention, we aired a story about it, but I was really happy to see that the NFL draft honored those three football players who died at the University of Virginia.
Oh, absolutely. That was really emotional. And that was great for their families. And one thing about the draft that I think a lot of our viewers can appreciate, and me as a Steelers fan can appreciate, is that the Steelers drafted two defensive Badgers in what is a great defense that UW has. And so I'm excited to see that. And of course, they drafted two Georgia Bulldogs too. So.
Oh my God. How do you feel about that, Bob?
Yeah, what do you think of the Steelers drafting two Badgers?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Packers don't seem to want Badgers. But the Steelers have done pretty well with Badgers on the defense, that's for sure.
T.J. Watt?
Yeah, yeah. Don't bring that up when we, that draft still gnaws at a lot of Packer fans.
Yeah, that just made me really happy when they drafted him. They called his name. I was shocked that the Steelers were able to take him, but I'm glad they did.
Packer fans were shocked that the Packers didn't take him, that's for sure. But life goes on.
True.
All right, let's take a look at what's going on in agriculture this morning, guys. Mississippi River water levels may have crested in St. Paul, but flooding is still a problem and will continue to limit barge traffic on the river for at least a couple more weeks. The river crested on April 27th, at over 18 feet, expected to fall below minor flood stage later this week. But until that happens, all the way from Hastings, Minnesota, down to locks in Canton, Missouri, barge traffic will remain stopped. The biggest problems along the river are near Davenport, Iowa, and Rock Island, Illinois, where the Mississippi River is at record flood stages over 22 feet. Well, farmers around the country are dealing with spring weather as they try to put their crops in. And according to this week's crop progress report, they are having some success. Corn planting actually moved ahead 12% last week. 26% of the crop is now planted around the country. That's about 13% ahead of last year's progress on the 1st of May. Now, the report shows Illinois farmers now have 40% of their corn in. Iowa is 29% planted. Soybean plantings moved ahead 10% last week. 19% of the beans are now in the ground, well ahead of both last year and the 5-year average. And in the Midwest, Illinois farmers have 39% of their soybeans planted. Iowa farmers have seeded 16% of their beans. Minnesota, pretty much like Wisconsin, just getting started, 1% planting. Well, here in Wisconsin, farmers are really just getting started. They have 2% of their corn and 3% of the soybeans in the ground, but they do have 23% of their oats in, and potato growers have planted 30% of their crop. State farmers have also finished 21% of their spring tillage and are looking at a winter wheat crop that is rated 74% good to excellent, and that's much better than the condition of the crop in other parts of the country. Both topsoil and subsoil moisture in good shape this week, rated 99% adequate to surplus. And that bill to permanently remove the gray wolf from the Endangered Species Act has passed out of the House Natural Resources Committee. The bill, sponsored by Wisconsin's 7th District Congressman Tom Tiffany and supported by the entire Republican delegation from Wisconsin, would also restore the authority to control the gray wolf population back to state lawmakers and state wildlife officials. Tiffany said there are now over 6,000 wolves in the lower 48 states, and he said that's a testimony to how well the Endangered Species Act can work. But it's done its job, and now it's time to deal with those high wolf numbers and the threat they pose to livestock and other animals around the country. Well, let's take a look at the market board. Beans, corn lower yesterday, looking at that big Brazilian crop. Also some concern about interest rates. Overnight, down again. July corn down another 6 to 7 cents, sitting at $5.73 this morning. A year ago, corn prices were over $8. Wheat down 3 cents at $6.06, and that July soybean price down a dime at $14 even. A year ago, bean prices $16.84. Going to the dairy markets, they were struggling again yesterday. Barrel cheese down 3/4 of a cent at $1.55 3/4. Blocks down 2 cents, and butter actually went up 7 cents yesterday to 2.42 and a quarter. Class 3 futures, May was up a nickel at 16.65, but June fell below $17, down 8 cents yesterday, and that July price up 4 cents at 17.74. And we'll get the official April Class 3. That'll be released later on today. So that's where we are this morning, and boy, good weather. The wind's dying down. The sun's coming out. Everybody's got to like that.
And that means you'll be out and about in your convertible soon enough.
Oh, absolutely. We'll burn a little of that cheap gas out there.
Oh, my gosh.
Have a good one,
You
Leanne.
too.
Bye-bye.